I'm so excited for you to join me today. And I want to say thank you for everyone that has been with me on the last series. The last series was all about the masks that we wear, which leads really nicely into this series, even though that this series is going to go a bit beneath the surface, deeper and deeper, because I'm going to be talking about the blueprint to relationships. So relationships, whether we're in one, whether we're seeking one, whether we've come out of one, whether we don't want one, we've had some kind of experience with relationships. Now we need to understand that we always can do relationships better, and many of us haven't learned how to do relationships better. And I want to be able to share, and when I'm sharing today, I'm going to be sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, because it's not just perfect relationships that we've all experienced. And for myself, I've not just experienced perfect relationships, so I understand what it can look like. So when you choose a relationship, you are shaping your life. You are not just choosing a partner, you are choosing a life. You are choosing the peace you're going to experience, or you are choosing the pressure you're going to experience. You are choosing your environment. You're not just choosing the life you will live, but you're choosing the person that you're going to live that life with. So it's so important when it comes to choosing and understanding relationships. And the reality most ignore is many choose based on feelings. Many choose relationships based on what they feel and the feel good factor and, you know, the excitement and the butterflies and all that kind of stuff. And that stuff is needed at the start. That stuff really helps at the start. But many ignore what they clearly see. You know, so the butterflies might be nice and the feelings might be nice, but you might be seeing some other things as well. And many hope those things will change later and avoid difficult truths early. So that's how some people end up getting in long relationships, and they shouldn't even be in those relationships. But you can even avoid that at the start if you start seeing things, and then many live out those consequences because they ignored what they saw at the start. So when I'm speaking about this subject, this is a subject that is close to my heart, because I am someone that has been married for 22 years. I've got 3 daughters. I've got grown-up daughters, you know, and I've seen healthy and I've seen broken environments, and I'm passionate about healthy families, and I'm committed to mentoring young people, committed to mentoring young adults, how to do family well, how to do relationships well, because it really matters. And the work that I do and the work that our organizations do, it supports children and mentors children and help children to overcome some of the challenges and some of the things they're experiencing in life. So for me, mentoring and children and families and relationships is all important. So this is a really important topic for me. And the truth of this story is I never always had a good start with relationships. I am speaking from experience. I'm not just speaking from theory. This is reality that I'm speaking from, because I've got a lot of experience, and I wasn't always the right person. I'm married today, but I wasn't always the right person. You know, when I was growing up and I was young, I was immature. It took many years for me to grow up. You know, I was selfish, I was self-centered, I lacked integrity, lacked humility and respect, you know, and I just had bad relationships and had bad relationship experiences because really I was just self-centered, and I had to face myself and I had to change. And the deeper truth of it was, I was a player. When I grew up at a certain age and people, a certain culture, a certain time, and it was all about, you know, being a player. That was like the impression that when you're a player, that's what makes you a man, you know, being able to play the field, have lots of different girlfriends, all that kind of stuff. But really the truth behind that reality for me was that I had low self-esteem. You know, I grew up, you know, if you've watched other videos that I've shared, you've seen that I've had a story where I never loved myself when I was growing up, and I wanted acceptance and I wanted approval from people. So a lot of my player days really was because I had low self-esteem and I lacked a father's guidance. You know, I had a father, you know, we grew up together, but there was a time parents separated, and my father wasn't around to give me guidance on how I should be living, how I should be growing up, how I should be treating women. I never really had that guidance from my father, you know what I mean? And I followed the culture, I followed the music culture, a movie culture, a media culture that was wrong. Womanizing and doing all that kind of stuff. It was wrong, but it was like that was the culture. And it's in the culture even now, So when you're watching James Bond or you're watching some of the movies and some of the things that you're listening to now or watching now, it's the same scenario. It's just showing you bad examples and bad role models, and people are feeling that that's how they should live. But I know that for me, I caused so much damage, to myself and to others. And really, I had to grow up and I had to take responsibility. I had to unlearn wrong beliefs. I had to grow in character. I had to rebuild my values, and I had to be honest, because growth requires honesty and it requires humility. And my foundation that really transformed my life, I really saw the light. And what really helped is my transformation through faith. My relationship with Jesus Christ has changed me. I've learned what love is and what it should look like, when it's helped me. My relationship with the Lord has helped me to develop integrity. It's helped me to develop responsibility. And the foundation I stand on now is my relationship with the Lord. So I have seen like both examples, so when I'm doing this video, I've seen what it shouldn't look like and I've seen what it should look like, and I am really speaking from that perspective. Like I've been able to see both sides, and I can say that this side is definitely the better side, the more healthy side, the more fruitful side, the side that has more value, and the side that has helped me to grow in a more healthy way. And the problem with a lot of relationships, or the problem with today, is a lot of times people confuse feelings with love. Feelings is not love. You can feel certain things, but that can wear off, and it does wear off a lot of times. But love is a bit different, because sometimes with love, you don't have the feelings. Sometimes you might not be feeling your partner, but you love them. You're not feeling excited, but you love them. And you go through different seasons in your relationship, and that's a reality. And sometimes attraction is mistaken for compatibility. Attraction is at the start, when you're attracted to someone, that really helps you to approach them. It helps you to want to find out more about them and so forth. But, as you go on, you're going to have more than attraction, and the culture promotes unhealthy patterns. It promotes that in movies and in songs, it's just the novelty at the start, but that doesn't build legacy. That doesn't build families. Do you know what I mean? That just builds the start of how you get into a relationship, but you need to go forward and make more healthy decisions. And sometimes loneliness drives poor decisions. Sometimes loneliness makes you accept lower standards and makes you compromise when that really isn't you. But it's being able to understand that choosing wisely is what's going to help you to have the relationship that you truly deserve. So when we even consider attraction versus alignment, attraction is emotional and immediate. It's right at the start. Alignment is around values and around direction. What direction is your life going in? What values do you hold close to your heart? That's what alignment's about. So when you're choosing someone that helps your alignment, they're going to have similar alignment. Attraction can fade over time. You know what I mean? Like as we grow up, we change in appearance, you know what I mean? But when we got the right person, their beauty just beautifies and they become even more beautiful and beautiful as the years go by. Alignment builds stability because you've got something more solid. You got a more solid foundation. You got values that you agree on and which are more powerful that help you to move forward. And you need both, you need attraction. Attraction helps, attraction is something that's important. But alignment matters more because alignment is around values, it's around who you are, it's around ethos, it's around culture. And when you are aligned with someone, it just helps to provide a more healthy environment for you as you go forward in life. So we do need to go beyond, looking at what we see in front of us, and we do need to use discernment. We need to be able to acknowledge and watch patterns, not just words. When people just talk, they can tell you what they know you want to hear. They can tell you that, but their actions don't align, and you need to focus on behavior, not just potential. You got to look at now, and you got to look at their potential as well. But, you want to look at where they are now and who they're representing themselves to be. Do not ignore inconsistency. When you ignore inconsistency, it definitely will come back and bite you. And take time before deciding. You don't have to rush to make these real deep kind of decisions, because when you get into relationships, it can be more difficult to get out of them. It could take years to get out of them. It can cost your life to get out of a relationship when you choose the wrong person. So take time before you're deciding, before you're jumping in, and truth is revealed over time. So what are you ignoring right now? What do you know but avoid admitting? What are you choosing, emotion over truth? Where are you choosing emotion over truth? What are you tolerating that you shouldn't be? Are you choosing wisely or reacting emotionally? See, these are the real questions to ask, because we always we will see red flags in bad relationships, or in relationships that really shouldn't be going forward, or even at the start of a relationship before we even enter it. And we have to look at, is there a lack of accountability? Is there disrespect or inconsistency? Is there poor communication? Are there different values? Are you valuing different things that are like kind of crucial? And is the direction of your relationship going in different directions? Are you seeing that you're going in different places in life? And are you experiencing repeated unhealthy patterns? Are you seeing them? They're the red flags that you're seeing. If they're the red flags you're seeing and you're seeing other red flags, I would say take notice, because it's going to be important for you to acknowledge these things. The things that we would value, or the things that would really help us, or the things that are healthy, is when people have got emotional maturity. That always helps, when consistency and honesty, when people are consistent, when they're honest, that's great. And when there's respect and accountability, when there's shared values, these are the things that encourage great relationships. These are the things that help you know that you're in a good place, and a willingness to grow. And I believe that you need to really understand that there needs to be growth and needs to be readiness as well, because we don't always start as the right person in a relationship. As you understand, we can come from places, and we can have bad examples, and we can have bad habits, and we can have seen things and learned things that we shouldn't be following. And people are probably not that person that they want to be at the start of a relationship. But people can grow when they're honest. So if they're honest, they can grow, and change requires accountability. So it takes us being able to be honest. You cannot change someone, and you cannot force someone to change. So sometimes when you're in a relationship and you think that that person is going to become who you want them to be, but they don't want to be that person that you want them to be, then maybe you need to not be in a relationship, or maybe you need to just change your expectations. But that is something that you need to realize, that you can't force people, and you can't manipulate them to be what you want them to be. The right person will choose to grow if they want to value you and want to be with you. And it's realizing as well that legacy is bigger than you. Your partner shapes your future family. Your relationship impacts your children. Your home becomes your example. Your choices create generational patterns. This decision is bigger than you. So you got to realize that everything you're going to see every day. The children are going to see every day. And many children grow up without stability because of the choices that people make about their relationship partners. Many lack consistent guidance. Many are impacted by broken relationships, and many are shaped by the environments that they didn't choose. Many children are impacted in these ways, and these are outcomes. They're just not random outcomes. These are outcomes that happen because of choices that you've made, and red flags that you've ignored, and the fact that people don't want to change and people don't want to grow, and you've just listened to words instead of watching their actions. So choosing right matters. It's not just about dating, it's about choosing and preparing for future families. This is not just about, feelings. It's about emotional environments. This is about generational patterns that you want to create. And this is about legacy. So if you want a fruitful life, you have to choose well in relationships. You have to be intentional when you're choosing. It can't just be about the butterflies. It can't just be about the feelings. It can't just be about you saw them in a club and they looked nice on that night, or they've got a nice car. You've got to be really intentional, and you must raise your standards. You've got to raise your relationship standards. You've got to love yourself more. You've got to respect yourself more. You've got to value yourself more. You've got to know that whoever you're giving yourself to, they've got to deserve having your time, deserve having your heart, deserve having your peace and having your contribution in their lives. You must be honest with yourself. Sometimes we're being dishonest, and that's what's impacting us. Really, that person isn't the person for us. And you must prioritize alignment over feelings, alignment over attraction, alignment over they look good. They can look good, but are they actually good? Are they going to treat you with royalty, with royal behavior? Are they going to treat you like royalty? Are they going to be loyal? Are they going to be faithful? Are they going to be true? These are things you want to find out if you want to have a relationship. And you must take responsibility. You can't just be blaming them. You've got to take responsibility and choose right. So as we come to the end of this video, I've got a challenge for you. This is the homework. You got to be honest about your situation. You got to be honest about your situation. You got to be honest. You got to be honest. You got to stop ignoring what you see. You got to stop ignoring what you see. You can see the signs. Write down what you're tolerating. Write down what you're tolerating and define what you truly need. What you truly need, define it and make decisions based on truth. And I know that this isn't an easy subject. This is a tough subject. I know that this is a tough subject because I've been in a situation before when I've had to end a relationship, when I've had to not be in a relationship, I've had to not pursue a relationship, I've had to move on. And it's difficult. It's difficult, but I wouldn't be in the relationship I'm in now if I didn't end or I didn't move past and let go of what I was in before. So if we've got to be honest and be truthful, we've got to say that this is tough. But I'm going to pray for you right now. Lord Jesus, you know who is watching this video. You know the person that you made for them. You know the person that you created for them that would value them, that would respect them, that would love them, that would add value to them, that would help them to become their best, that would help them to become their potential, that would help them to feel loved, that would help them to feel joy, that would help them to enjoy life. You know the person that you have made for them. And I pray that you would help them to realize if they are not with that person. I pray that you would help them to realize that person that would add value to their lives, dear God. And I pray that you would help them, dear God, that they realize that they need to become that person. They need to work on themselves. They need to work on their love language for their own heart. They need to work on loving themselves. They need to work on respecting themselves. They need to go through healing. They need to go through a time of separation. They need to go through a time of being alone. They need to go through a time when they realize that I need to build up myself. I need to build up who I am. I need to spend time with myself. I need to be my own project. And I pray that you would help them to go through that, and that they would be able to have wisdom, and that they would be able to make good choices, and they would be able to choose truth, and they will be able to go past the healthy decisions that they made in the past. But I pray that you will help them and give them the heart that they will be kind to themselves, that they would have self-compassion, that they would love themselves, and that they would even have patience for the person that they're in. When they see that person's trying, when they're seeing that person's trying to love them, when they're seeing that person trying to overcome their issues, because we all have come from somewhere, and sometimes we're undoing the work that we've had to go through because we went through a bad situation in our previous life. So I pray that people have a discernment of, should I stay, should I go, should I hold out, and should I be this person? And I pray that people know that they're worth marrying, they're worth having that kind of life, they're worth having commitment, they're worth having loyalty, they're worth having faithfulness. And I pray that you would help people to realize this, and that they would realize this for themselves. And I pray this right now in Jesus' name, amen. So I'm closing now. And I want you to realize the person you choose shapes your life. Whether you're in a relationship for a short time or a long time, they're going to be helping you to see yourself in a certain way. That this impacts your peace and future. This impacts your family and legacy. The relationships you choose influence the direction of your life, so choose wisely. And I want to say thank you for being with me today, and sharing is caring. So share this video with someone that would value it and it will help them. And I want to say come back next week as we go to episode 2 on this topic, and this topic is going to go deeper and deeper. And I want to say thank you for being with me on this healing journey. Take care.